Hi, my name is Jessica Whittier and I'm a college access counselor with the Finance Authority of Maine. This video is our financial aid information session for fall of 2022. So not only do we produce these quality videos for you to watch about financial aid, we do also produce some physical pieces of collateral that you can request from us. So we have a publication called Pay. You can find that publication at famemaine.com/publications, along with a variety of other publications that we produce. And you can request that we mail them directly to you anywhere in the state of Maine, free of cost. You can also download the PDF of these publications from that famemaine.com/publications site. So everything I'm going to talk about in this presentation is inside the Pay publication as well. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about financial aid. Financial aid exists to help students pay for college. We recognize that not every family is going to have the entire cost for college ready to go in a savings account when their student heads off to school. The vast majority of Maine students are going to rely on some amount of financial aid to make college possible. So that financial aid comes to students in one of two categories, either merit-based aid or need-based aid. Merit-based aid is money that a student gets to help them pay for college that they get because there is something about them that the college or the organization giving them the money thinks is special. So in essence, they get it for doing or being something special. So the most common type of merit-based aid is academic merit aid. So good grades in high school can mean academic merit scholarships when they get to college. If they are a fantastic athlete and they're heading off to a Division I or a Division II school, they can get sports-related scholarships, so athletic scholarships. That would be merit aid. You can get scholarships because of the degree program that you're in, because of a club or organization you belong to, so there are a variety of reasons a student might get merit aid. The thing is that you want to make sure that you understand why you are getting a merit scholarship. So if you see a merit scholarship in your financial aid package and you don't know why you are getting it, ask questions. This is important because typically you're not just paying for 1 year of college. So not only do you need that money for your first year of college, but you'd like to have that money for all of your years of college. So understanding why you are getting the money so that you can make sure you can keep getting the money every year. Typically, all you need to do is to keep doing or being that something special that earned you the money in the first place. So if you got the money for good grades, you need to keep getting good grades. If you got the money because of a club that you are part of, then you need to continue to be part of that club or part of that degree program. When it comes to need-based aid you get because you need it. So you fill out the financial aid forms, and the whole point of filling out those forms is for the federal government and the colleges to come up with a number. So this is a measurement of your family's ability to pay for college. So they come up with a number for you. And if that number is lower than the cost for college, then you need some money in order to make that school possible. So colleges will try to give you need-based aid. Need-based aid is usually called a grant, but not always. So when it comes to need-based aid, all that you need to do to keep getting that money from year to year is to keep being needy. So no big raises at work, no winning the lottery, those things will impact your need-based aid. But as long as things pretty much stay the same, your need-based aid should stay the same from year to year. The way that, or the key that opens the door to all of these different types of financial aid is the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. We're going to talk a whole lot more about that in just a minute, but it determines all of your federal financial aid eligibility at every college in the United States. And then for the vast majority of colleges is also how they determine institutional financial aid as well. So we really highly encourage, suggest, push every student to file the FAFSA every year they go to college. So certainly filling it out in your senior year of high school to cover your freshman year of college. But regardless of what happens after that, keep filing your FAFSA every year. So sometimes you might find that there are years you get more aid than others. So it is worth your time and effort to complete that FAFSA every year you go to college. So when we talk about financial aid, we break it down into 3 steps for you. So 3 easy steps, right? So this first one is to get ready. And chances are you've already started this because you're here listening to me right now. So you started looking for schools and maybe checking out how much they cost and maybe freaking out a little bit. So here's the thing when it comes to the step 1, get ready, is really spend some time researching colleges. This can make a huge difference in your ability to find the perfect school that fits you and that you can afford. And to do this, you really need to be looking at your net price of a college, not the sticker price. So some of the sticker prices for college can be really high. And then the reality is students will get financial aid. So some of that will be covered by financial aid. What you pay for college after your financial aid has been applied is your net price. So every college in the United States has a net price calculator on their website. So you can go there and check it out, put in information about the student and the family's financial situation, and the college must tell you today what they are likely to offer you for financial aid if you were a student there right now. Now, you're not there right now, likely, and so what you want to just think about is that things could change in that year, so things can be a little bit different when it's your turn to get your financial aid package. But the reality is, for the most part, it is a pretty accurate picture of what you're likely to get for financial aid. There are a couple of things missing. So in that net price calculator, they take into consideration typically academic merit aid and need-based aid. So again, if you were that fantastic trombone player from Sanford High School, they're not asking you if you're the best female trombone player east of the Mississippi. So it is still possible. You could get some additional financial aid if there is some other type of merit aid that the college sends your way. But for most students, this is going to be a really good picture of what that looks like. The other thing that we'd like to encourage you to do as you are looking at colleges is considering the percent of need that a college can meet for you. So one of the best ways to figure out how much financial aid a college really has is to check out College Board's Big Future website. So let's take a look at that. So this is the College Board Big Future website. So this is what it looks like when you get there. So this is bigfuture.collegeboard.org/college search. But if you just put in Big Future, it is likely the first thing that will come up in your search engine. And when you get there, the page looks like this. And you'll first notice that they give you 4 options for starting to narrow down your college search. So you can do location, major, type, and campus life. Then, once you've made a selection, so in this case I chose environmental science, I find that there are 606 colleges in the United States that offer environmental science as a degree program, and you'll notice that I then get a number of additional options to start narrowing down my search, and one of those is affordability. When you check on affordability, you're going to see that they're going to allow you to search for colleges that meet 100% of need. That means colleges that give you everything you need based on, so again, filling out those financial aid forms, which determine how much you can afford to pay for college. And then a college could give you everything. So again, if at a school that costs, $50,000 a year, if they meet 100% of need and you can only afford $1,000 for college, they're going to give you $49,000 in financial aid. So that would be a school that meets 100% of need. The thing you're going to notice if you select that, however, is that you are going to find really great schools on that list. So for schools in Maine, you've got Colby, Bates, and Bowdoin. Outer state colleges would be Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Brown. So these are colleges that meet 100% of needs. They have great financial aid. But those same colleges also tend to be really tough to get into. So if you are not a student that thinks that they can get into one of those really top tier schools, going down to 90% of need met is going to expand the number of colleges in your search, And you're going to notice that those new colleges that show up, those are the ones that are going to be a little bit less selective and a little bit easier to get into. So this is a great way to kind of start looking at colleges and really figuring out how much they're going to cost you. So talking about financial aid and covering college costs, have you heard about these programs? So first, the Free Community College Initiative. So this is for students in the graduating classes of 2020, 21, 22, and 23 from any Maine high school. So in these situations, if you are in those categories, then and you either have your high school diploma or your GED or your adult diploma, you plan to enroll full-time at a community college, and you are pursuing either an associate's degree or another academic credential. So it could be a certificate program that is on the academic side of the campus. Then guess what? You get free community college. So the way that the program works is you need to fill out your FAFSA. So you fill out your FAFSA, and if you qualify for any federal or state grant money, that will be applied to your bill first. And then if there are any tuition costs left after those first types of financial aid have been applied, then the Free Community College Scholarship will cover the rest. This is a fantastic program. You can learn more about it at the Maine Community College website or on any of the Maine Community College websites individually. Also, there is the Worthington Scholarship. So this is for students who attend certain high schools in the state of Maine, which right now is the vast majority of high schools in the state of Maine. Sorry to York County, Cumberland County, and Androscoggin County, who currently don't have the Worthington Scholarships, though they're trying to expand it all the time. And so this is, if you are attending a four-year college, this could be a $2,125 per semester renewable scholarship. If you're heading to community college, it would be $1,500 per semester. And again, to qualify for these programs, you must fill out a FAFSA. To get ready is to research deadlines for college. So when you're looking at schools, you're going to find that most schools have admissions deadlines. They also have financial aid deadlines. And these are important to keep in mind because when it comes to admissions deadlines, you need to apply to that college, by their admissions deadline, or they're not looking at your application. It's not quite the same with financial aid. In fact, with financial aid, they'll still accept your financial aid application after their deadline. But what happens on a financial aid deadline is that school pretty much gives away all its money. So you can still apply. There's just not going to be much money left for you in the end. So you want to know what those deadlines are, and you want to make sure you're filling out your financial aid forms by the deadlines. The earliest deadlines we see start in November of a student's senior year of high school. So we usually say October is kind of your sweet spot. If you can fill out that form in October, you are going to hit every single financial aid deadline at every college, so you should be good to go. Another thing when you're on that college's website is check out which application forms they want from you. So again, every college in the United States wants the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, but about 300 colleges in the United States want an additional financial aid form from you called the CSS profile. So the CSS profile is a little bit more involved and intricate, and colleges that use it are doing it typically because they have more money to give away. So they have bigger pots of money. So they want to make sure they're doing it as fairly and adequately as they can. So they're asking for the CSS profile that asks more questions than the FAFSA. So visit cssprofile.org to find out if your college is looking for that form, or you can actually just find out on the college's financial aid webpage as well. And then if you find that you need to fill out the form, you can learn a little bit more about that CSS profile. The biggest thing I find for students, or the thing that is the most challenging, is that the CSS profile usually wants both parents' financial information, which is fine if your parents live together, but if a student comes from a split household where parents live in different households, it's usually going to be the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent filling out a CSS profile for the student. So it can be a little bit more involved and take a little bit more time, but know that, again, those colleges asking for it also have the most money to give away. So it's not a bad thing, just know it's going to take you a little bit more time and effort. So another thing you can do to get ready is to save as much as possible. And guys, it is not too late to start saving today. I find that students and families in the senior year of high school especially, you're just more motivated. It means more. And even having a couple of $1,000s saved, even $500 can make a difference as to which college you can choose and how ready and comfortable you are with kind of transitioning to college in the fall. So it's not too late to get started. Inside back cover of the pay publication has some information about Next Gen. Next Gen is Maine's college savings plan. It is worth checking out. There are some fantastic grants available to Maine families and students by opening accounts and contributing to accounts. So definitely check that out, either in the back of the pay publication or on our website. Just look up Next Gen. You can also apply for outside scholarships right now. There are lots of really great scholarships. And here's the piece I always say. You might hear sometimes, oh, people aren't even applying for scholarships anymore. Well, most scholarships out there are getting applications, a few. But there are many scholarship programs that are getting a really small number of applications. So it's not that scholarships are going unawarded, but the competition for scholarships is not as tough as you might think. So look for scholarships, apply for scholarships, visit our website at famaine.com/scholarships to learn more about it, and find some scholarships that we have that are Maine-based scholarships, as well as links to national scholarship websites that we think are pretty great. We also have some short videos on our YouTube page about seeking scholarships and looking best for scholarship applications. Parents, we have a Facebook group. So if that is something that you do a lot of, if you're like me and you're on Facebook, way more than you should be, we have a group called Paying for College for Me. And this is a group that you can join, and you'll find parents just like you who are asking questions and other parents who are answering them, maybe parents who have gone through the process before, but often it could also be a member of our team helping answer some of those questions, as well as school counselors who might be part of that group as well. So it's a really, really great group to be part of, very dynamic and getting a lot of questions asked. And sometimes you can just look at other people's questions if you're just not even sure what questions you should have right now. So it's a great place to get that done as well. So another thing you can do in getting ready is to create your studentaid.gov account. So this is a big one, folks. So this is one that I would highly encourage you to do before you fill out your FAFSA application. So, so you want to create an account at studentaid.gov. Every student needs an account. We also call it an FSA ID. In essence, it's a username and password. So every student needs one, and at least one parent in the student's household needs one as well. So go to studentaid.gov, create an account. Know that when you are creating the account, you need access to your cell phone as well as your email account. So make sure you're somewhere where you can get text messages and receive emails. And I will say, just based on the amount of work I've done helping families lately, this is the bigger headache. So this is the harder part. Getting this FSA ID done can be a bear. And so one of the things that we have done for you is that we have created a worksheet. So this is your FSA ID information tracking worksheet. So this is something that you can use to write everything down as you go along. So on the other side that you can't see here is directions on how to get your ID, and then this side has a place to write everything down. So again, you want to write down the email address you used, the username that you created, the password you created, and folks, this is not a simple password. They have a lot of kind of stipulations about what you need to do for that password, and it is typically not a password that most people can have, that's something that they've used for other things. and certainly your mobile number. And then you'll have 4 challenge questions that you need to create. So write everything down as you go along. You're even going to get a backup code. Visit our website, so go to famaid.com under Affording Education, and Paying for School is the resources and tools page. Or you can just put in your search engine, creating your FSA ID account, FAME worksheet, and we should come up. So this is a great way to get this information tracking sheet. We also have an animated video. We have a number of animated videos, folks, but this is a great one that you can check out that's going to let you kind of follow step by step on how to create your ID. So this is a great way to get some extra advice and help, and it's a great little video to watch. You'll see here it's like 10 minutes long, so you can watch that and get a better picture of that process. Okay, you made it to step 2, and now we are going to talk about applying for financial aid. So this is a picture of the FAFSA. This is the free application for federal student aid. You're going to find it at fafsa.gov. You can also get there from the studentaid.gov website by going to complete my FAFSA form. It's just one of the tabs that they have there. But the 23-24 FAFSA can be found here at fafsa.gov. The FAFSA is free. You do not need to pay anyone to file this for you, nor should you. So this is something you can do completely on your own, well, at no cost. There's tons of help to get it done. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but families, students and families should be filling out this form every year that you go to college. So for the class of 2023, the form that you are going to fill out first is that 23-24 FAFSA, and it becomes available on October 1st. So we suggest that you submit your FAFSA as early as you can. Again, that month of October is kind of the sweet spot. Although for most of you, if it happened in November, it would not be the end of the world, or even December. But the earlier you do it, the better off you usually are. Unless you were trying to do it in the first couple days of October when everybody else in the world is trying to get it done as well, and it is just overwhelmed. So I actually usually suggest you wait until the 4th or the 5th day of October before you get started on the form. I think you'll have much less headache in the process. So submit the form early. For that 23-24 FAFSA, they're going to be asking for your 2021 tax information. So those are the taxes that were filed like last spring or so. So make sure that you are using that IRS data retrieval tool. This is a tool inside the FAFSA form that pulls your information directly from the IRS and puts all the right numbers in all the right places for you. So this year you are still able to choose whether or not you want to use the data retrieval tool. Next year it will be mandatory for everyone. But the reality is you want to use the IRS data retrieval tool. Not only does it save you time and energy now, it can save you a ton of headache later, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So make sure you are using the IRS data retrieval tool. If you have any trouble along the way doing that, then give us a call at FAME and one of our team will help walk you through it. Remember that even though the form asks questions about the parents, the FAFSA does still belong to the student, and make sure you are answering the questions for the student. So they will say, they often say, you know, so they'll start with student's name and demographic. Make sure that information is all the student's information. So if you are a parent filling out this form, don't get wrapped up and accidentally fill out a form for yourself instead. All right. So make sure you're paying attention to those questions. But for the most part, students are going to need their parents' information on the FAFSA form. So who is your parent on the FAFSA? For for the 23-24 FAFSA, the question states, which parent did the student live with most? So if a student's biological or adoptive parents live in the same household, that's the household that you're going to use when filling out the FAFSA. So both of those parents' information will go in the FAFSA form. But if a student's biological or adoptive parents do not live in the same household, so they're divorced or they're separated or they were never married to begin with, then you are going to use the information for the parent that the student lived with most for the last 12 months. So the date you are sitting down at that FAFSA to fill it out, you want to think back, where did that student live most? And that is the household you go with. If it's hard to tell, if it's 50-50 right down the middle, the reality is there were 365 days in a year. You lived more, we lived with one parent more. So maybe you want to use some net price calculators to see which parent it might be better to spend an extra night with between now and the time you fill out that FAFSA form. So, you know, if you have any questions about that, again, definitely give us a call. So once you figured out who you're filing the FAFSA with, now you've got to put the information in. And the piece that is going to play the largest role in this process for the majority of families is parent income. So the higher the parent income is, the less financial aid a student qualifies for. The less income the parent has, the more financial aid a student qualifies for. So parent income plays the largest role in this picture, but they are also going to look at student income as well. And students, you can earn up to $7,000 a year, and the federal government is not even looking at it. So go ahead and get a job. Yay! All right. So earn up to $7,000, and it's not going to impact your financial aid at all. Now I'm going to talk for just a second to some of you fantastically wonderful students who have earned over $7,000 in 2021. And what will happen then is up to that 7,000 mark, doesn't hurt you at all, but any dollar over that, they are looking at 50 cents on the dollar being available to help you pay for college. So make sure if you are making those bigger dollars amounts that you are saving some of that money. So I think it's really tough. I will tell you, even with my own high school student right now, when she wants to save, we're talking about her saving to buy a car, right? And then that car will also add some additional costs. So she's not going to make $7,000, but if she were to or be above there, make sure that if you're also planning to go to college, that the saving for the car and the saving for college are at least equal. Because again, once you get over that 7,000 mark, it's going to impact financial aid eligibility. In addition to income, they are also going to be looking at assets. So what asset information is required? So when it comes to student assets, students' assets could be looked at as much as 20%. So as much as 20% of the amount that a student has in their own name could be looked at as available to help them pay for college. So I am not a big fan of students having large dollar amounts in their own names. So maybe you put it in a college savings account, a 529 account that is owned by the parents for the benefit of the student. So look for those ways that you can do it that don't hurt a student's financial aid eligibility. When it comes to parent assets are looked at in a dramatically smaller fashion. So parent assets actually play one of the smaller roles in this whole process. And that happens because there are first a number of assets that you don't have to include on the FAFSA form. Primarily, the home that you live in, your primary residence, doesn't go on the FAFSA form. Neither do your qualified retirement accounts. So for many Maine families, once you take away the house and you take away their retirement accounts, there's not a ton left over. So what are they looking at? What do they want to count? So they're going to want to know cash, savings, and checking. Okay, so how much do you have in those forms, as well as investments like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds that are not in qualified retirement accounts. So those will all be counted, as well as investment properties like second homes and camps and rental properties. You'll put the equity value of those into the FAFSA form. So now you're thinking, okay, I'm counting all these up and now I've got some money here that they're counting. At that point, the maximum that the federal government will look at those funds being available, those assets that they did count, is that 5.6% of them would be available to help you pay for college. But that only happens if you are already in the highest earning tax bracket. So if you're not already earning a ton of income, then they are looking at a much smaller number. So for Maine families, you may be seeing them looking closer to 3.5% of your assets being counted. So just kind of keep that in mind, that parent assets tend to not play a large role in this process. So I kind of harped a little bit on deadlines earlier and how important deadlines are, but this is just a great example of what happens when you miss deadlines. So in this scenario, I have the same student going to the same college, but in these 3 examples, they filed for financial aid on 3 different dates. So that first column, that student files, on time on November 1st. And I mean, they could have even filed on January 1st as long as it was before that college's financial aid filing deadline. And you will see that student is getting almost $22,000 in financial aid. In our second scenario, the student files after the college's financial aid filing deadline. It could be just by a little bit. And you're going to see here that that student is missing about $6,000 in financial aid. So that is what has disappeared from their package because they didn't file on time. Guys, $6,000 is a huge amount of money to be out of and be taking out an additional student loan for, or however that might work for your student. And in the last scenario, I have a student who waited until summer or even late spring of their senior year of high school because they just weren't sure what they were going to do, and they're out even more money. File your FAFSA. File in the fall. Whether or not you think you qualify for financial aid, whether or not you think you're going to college, encourage your friends to file their FAFSA and get that done. We have tons of help, so this doesn't have to be a big deal. All right, we made it to step 3, and step 3 is to follow up. And so this is, you filed your FAFSA application. Oh, just letting you know, back on that FAFSA form, you can list up to 10 colleges on the FAFSA form. And if you have more than 10 colleges that you would like to get your information, you're going to put your first 10 on, and then you're going to wait to get an email like this from the federal government saying, hey, your FAFSA has been completed. You can come back and take a look at your student aid report. And then what you're going to see here is there are some sections. So there is the first one is to update school information. This is where if you didn't put all the colleges that you wanted to, you can go back in and add more schools. Or if you already have 10 in there, you delete the 10 you have and you'd add 10 more and you'd submit the FAFSA again. And then those other schools would get the information as well. But this is also if you put in, you need to put at least one school on the FAFSA form. So maybe you list one college, but then maybe over the next few months you make some other great choices of places you might want to go. Again, you can go back to this page at Federal Student Aid and look at your FAFSA and add and update schools. You can also edit your FAFSA form here. So if you realized you made a mistake, then you can go back in and make a change. It's super duper easy. And this is also where you can view your student aid report. Your student aid report is a list of every question on the FAFSA and how you answered it, as well as some additional information about your financial aid eligibility from the federal government. If you are applying for scholarships, it is very likely that they are going to want a copy of your student aid report. So I would suggest you hop on as soon as you're able to and download a PDF of your SAR, your student aid report, and save it into, onto your computer. So maybe you have a college folder or a scholarship folder, save it there so you've got it anytime that you need that form. So I mentioned earlier that that IRS data retrieval tool might be important down the line as well, and here's where it comes. Once you have completed your FAFSA form and the colleges start getting your information, it is possible that you could be selected for verification. Verification is the process where the federal government keeps us honest and they check our work. It is supposedly random, although we know that there are some things that can increase your chances of being selected for verification. One of them is if you did not use IRS data retrieval. It is likely you will be selected for verification, and then they're going to want to see a copy of your tax return from that year. So use IRS data retrieval. You are also more likely to be selected for verification if your household income is really, really low or zero. So then they're just going to want some additional information from you on how you survive. Or if you are like me and your household has more than 3 children, you are likely to be selected for household verification, where they want you to write down the names of all the people who live in your house and indicate how they are related to you or the student or to the student, so that they know that you've got the right number of people on that list. So each college is responsible for verifying information. So if the federal government selects you for verification and you've applied to 3 colleges, all 3 colleges need to collect that information from you. So you'll have to do it 3 times. If you're applying to 12 colleges and you're selected for verification, you will need to do this 12 times. So make sure that you understand how colleges are going to communicate with you. So some colleges will send you paper forms home, but that doesn't happen as often. Recently, it is more likely they are going to send you an email. So that is going to be an email that they either send to the email account you put on your admissions application, or the email address you put on your financial aid application, or the email address that the college created for you when you became a student at their college. So find out from the colleges, how are you going to communicate with me going forward? Just so you are checking those forms of communication on a regular basis. Some of them even are only using their student information system portals. So this is not the case for the University of Maine System Schools. They do other notifications as well, but they have a portal called Main Street. So if you are watching that portal on a regular basis, you will see that you were selected for verification and then can provide them that additional information. But our University of Maine System Schools do also communicate in other ways as well. So make sure you know how they're going to communicate with you so that you are able to meet the verification needs as you go along, because your financial aid application is not complete until you are done verification. Okay, let's talk about money. So what types of financial aid can you get? So once the colleges have got your information, they're going to start building your financial aid packages. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those in just a moment. But the types of money that they are going to be trying to give you. First, scholarships and grants. That is money that you do not need to pay back. So this is the good stuff. The federal government has Pell Grants and SEOG grants. The state of Maine has the Maine State Grant. We do have a May 1st FAFSA filing deadline, so you need to file your FAFSA by May 1st in order to qualify for that. Right now you are all laughing because you got yours done in October, so you totally met this deadline. Colleges have their own scholarships and grants to give away, and certainly you can apply for private scholarships as well. It's also possible you could see work study in your financial aid packages. Work study is a job on your college campus. You work the job and they pay you. But the thing to keep in mind here is you get it in your financial aid package, like it might help cover college costs. But for most students, you're not going to get the money fast enough for it to cover the college costs, at least for fall. So when it comes to work study, you have to get to the college campus in September or whenever you start. You have to find a job, you have to work the job, and then you get paid. So for those students starting in fall, it could be like October before you get that first paycheck. And for most students, they're going to get that paycheck and they're going to go and deposit that paycheck, and then they're going to buy Chinese food and shoes. Or at least that's what I did with my work study money. Students, you might choose other things along the way, but this is the reality. For most students, it is your spending money on campus. It's what allows you to maybe buy some extra books and supplies as you need them, things like that. So make sure you're not thinking about that as really covering college costs, unless you are saving your work study money to cover the costs for the next semester. So the last type of aid you might see in your financial aid package are student loans. So student loans, the federal government is going to offer every U.S. citizen and eligible non-citizen a federal direct student loan. For freshman year of college, it's going to be worth $5,500, so $5,500 for the whole year. It goes up a little bit every year. So sophomore year, it's $6,500, and then junior and senior year, it is $7,500 each year. If you don't need student loans to help you cover the cost for college, don't take them out, right? So just say no thank you. You can actually say no thank you to all of the financial aid they offer you, although I really think you should hold on to your scholarships and grants. But if you don't need the loan, say no thank you. But if you do need a loan to cover college costs, we highly suggest that students start with this federal direct student loan. It is one of the best loans out there for students for a variety of different reasons, but the biggest one is the federal government has a whole bunch of safeguards in place to help students make sure that they can pay back these student loans. in a reasonable manner. So they have income-based repayments when the time comes to pay them back. The federal government for your undergraduate degree is never going to offer you huge dollar amounts, so you're not going to get in over your head in student loan debt. If you need more student loans than that federal direct student loan is offering, there are additional private student loan programs out there. Make sure you understand the difference, right? So make sure that you understand how they all work. So you can visit our website at famaine.com and go to our student loans page and learn a ton of information. You can also find some Maine-based loans that are out there that you can learn a little bit more about. But here's where I really want you to take a few minutes to think about how much student loan is too much student loan. So one of our rules of thumb is that students should not take out more total student loan debt than the starting salary for the job they want to go into. So if the student is going to a two-year college and they're thinking they want to be a welder, I don't know what the starting salary is off the top of my head, but you can go to careeronestop.org and look at their salary finder, and you can find any job in the country, or any starting salary for any job in the country, anywhere you want to live. So you could put welder in Maine, and it'll tell you the low end to the high end of what you will earn in that job in that location. That low end is your starting salary. So if you learn that welders are starting at $40,000 a year, then you know that over the course of getting that to your associates, you do not want to take out $40,000, which I think would be impossible because it doesn't cost that much. But it gets harder as you go to school longer. So again, for a bachelor's degree, if you're thinking you want to be a teacher, starting salary for teachers in the state of Maine is around $35,000 to $37,000 a year. You could absolutely end up with more student loan debt than that over the course of a bachelor's degree, depending on where you go and what decisions you make. You want to try to keep that number lower, because what happens is if you take out too much student loan and it's time to pay those loans back, if your income is a lot lower than your student loan debt, then the percentage of your paycheck that goes to your student loans makes it really hard to do all the other things, like have a car or food to eat or a place to live. So make good choices. Try to keep that total student loan debt below the starting salary for the job you want to go into. So financial aid offices will start notifying you about your financial aid packages as early as January, even I think I saw some in December last year. So you'll start getting notifications from the college about your financial aid offer. You might get them via paper or through email, or they might just be on your student information system account, so keep an eye on all of those. You need to be formally accepted for admissions before they're going to send you anything. And again, make sure you're checking those forms of communication on a regular basis. When you get those financial aid offers, you want to make sure that you are comparing them side by side. So you really want to be looking, review what you're getting, and make sure you understand all of the types of financial aid being offered to you. And then we have this worksheet, the Comparing Costs and Financial Aid Offers worksheet. You can find it in the paid publication as well as on our website, famaine.com, under Resources and Tools. So again, if you just put in search Comparing Costs and Financial Aid Offers, it will pop up. And this is a great way to really make sure you understand what colleges are offering you and how it is going to be applied to the bill. The back side of this piece, so it is a two-sider, and the back side talks about paying the bill, which we're going to talk more about in a minute, but it is a great additional piece of this worksheet that really helps you think about all the different ways families pay the bill, because typically they are not just cutting a check. So definitely check that out as well. So what do you do if you're filling out the FAFSA form and you're going along and you're answering all the questions to the best of your ability, but you recognize that the information you're providing no longer accurately reflects what's really going on in your household? So if that is the case, then you want to contact your financial aid office to discuss those issues. So it is possible that a financial aid office can use their professional judgment to consider your situation and give you more money. So some of the things that are most commonly looked at would be loss of income or unemployment, divorce or separation, unusual medical expenses, and parents attending college, so at the same time as their student. So those would be things that colleges could look at and potentially give you more financial aid. So we have, again, a worksheet on steps to appealing your financial aid offer. I actually suggest that most students, almost all students, appeal their financial aid offer at some point in their process. And this is, if you did not get 100% of need met, it might be worth a student just asking the college for more, thanking them so much for the package they gave them. If there are any of these things that you could talk about in that letter, that email to the financial aid office, please do. But then, just letting them know how short you are in being able to cover those costs, or how much more you would need in order to feel comfortable covering college costs. And sometimes colleges will save some money, or look at your situation and recognize that indeed they would like to give you more aid. So it is worth considering appealing your financial aid offer, and you can get this worksheet off of our website as well. So what do you do when the financial aid just isn't enough? So we suggest at FAME first starting with savings. So any money that you have, so think about summer savings. So students are still going to hopefully have a job after they graduate from high school, and through the month of June and July, whatever they can save to help cover some of those fall costs. Think about a tuition payment plan. So this is where the college would break down how much you owe them over the course of, usually 10 months, maybe as much as 12 months, for you to pay them. So there's usually a small fee, $50, to start the payment plan, and then you will pay them the same amount every month while students are going through school. So if you owed the college $5,000 and you were breaking it down, excuse me, over 10 months, then you'd be $500 a month. And remember, the students at college now, so you don't have to feed them or give them the $10 every Friday night when they want to go do something, or more, or help them with gas money for their car. So how much is that worth to you? How much do you maybe have ready to go that you can put towards a payment plan? We have all kinds of other financing options that you can start reviewing at famaine.com/borrowing. I suggest learning about these avenues way before it's time to actually borrow. We suggest that students and families do not borrow additional student loans until after they know what scholarships they've received at the end of their senior year. So you do not need to apply for additional student loans if you've decided that you need that until June. So you have time to kind of do your research. And there are also some federal tax credits and deductions worth taking a look at. So again, you can check out our pay publication on page 19 through 21. In the back of that pay publication, we also have some great additional resources, a checklist for junior year and senior year. Check that out to keep you on track. And we have tons of other fantastic resources that are worth your time. So again, go to famaine.com and you can go to our publications page to have us mail you stuff for free in the state of Maine, but also check out our informational videos and calculators and tools. If you are from Idaho and you're hearing me today and you're like, oh, this is still good information, I wish I could get it. I can't mail you a physical copy, but you can download all of these PDFs from our website as well. I also want to talk about our FAFSA help sessions. So we offer help for students and families from Maine completing their FAFSAs. So in the months of October and even November, we are often at high schools getting this done. You can visit our events page at famaine.com to figure out where we'll be, if we'll be somewhere near you. But if you're listening to this later in the year, know that we are really still able to help you at any time. We will be holding virtual FAFSA help sessions, which actually work extremely well. If you're at all comfortable with a computer, we actually find that they are very successful. So check those out and feel free to reach out for additional help. Again, we have information on scholarship searches and financial wellness, so all kinds of stuff worth looking at famemaine.com. You can also stay connected with us, so I would highly encourage you to sign up for our mailing list at famemaine.com/join. If there's one thing you take away from here today is please sign up for famemaine.com/join. And here's the deal. If you think that any of the information I shared with you today was useful and exciting, or maybe even overwhelming, and you're thinking you would like some help down the line, if you sign up at our mailing list, we will be emailing and sending out text messages with additional information that comes in a timely manner at the time that you need the information. So it is definitely worth doing, especially through a student's senior year of high school. Parents and caregivers, check out our Paying for College for Me Facebook group. And you guys can also schedule a free financial aid coaching session. So Maine residents can and families attending Maine high schools can schedule a session right on our go to famemaine.com/contact us, or just up at the top you go to contact us, and you'll find those financial aid coaching sessions. And you sign up for half an hour, and somebody from our team just shows up to help you out. And speaking of our lovely team, this is our customer service team. They are available Monday through Friday from 8:30 until 4:30, and they are answering all of your questions. So you can email them at education@famemaine.com or call them at 1-800-228-3734. I just want to thank everyone for joining me for this information session. I hope it was really helpful for you. If you would like more free resources to help you through this financial aid process, visit famemaine.com/affording-education. Follow us on any of the social media platforms. We're doing lots of great stuff there. Email us, give us a phone call. We are happy to help. I hope this was useful for you. If you'd like to watch more of these informational videos, we have shorter animated videos and some longer ones that cover all kinds of different topics. And you can find those on our informational videos page at famemaine.com or on our YouTube page at FameMaine. Thank you and have a great day.